Hey everyone, my name is Phil Yee. I'm with Day One Camouflage, and here are the 10 pieces of American-made gear I took with me on a recent spring turkey hunt. As a disclaimer, all this stuff was bought by me. I own it. I spent my own money with it. Nobody sends me any of this stuff to review. I just want to bring to you guys pieces of hunting gear that I think are excellent, that you may not know about, that are also American made. Let's start with the ground up. The first piece of kit I brought with me was this shooting mat by a company called Crosstack. This is the Recon mat. I use this instead of a Crazy Creek chair, or a lot of guys use, sit pads when they go turkey hunting. I just laid this whole thing out. It's actually a shooting mat where you lie prone and you put your entire body prone on this thing. But it worked amazingly to keep me off the wet ground when I was turkey hunting. So Crosstack shooting mat, one side's multicam, the other side is like a chocolate chip type camo pattern that's a much lighter. It keeps you from getting wet, it keeps you a little bit comfortable, and it works just as well as a sit pad or a Crazy Creek chair or whatever you use out there to put up on the ground when you're turkey hunting. Second was this pair of Russell Moccasin Zephyr boots. When you're turkey hunting, you don't need a ton of hardcore ankle support. You're not carrying a ton of gear. What you really need, in my opinion, are two things. One is you need comfort, because you're going to be sitting there in a blind that you made for a long time. And then for me, I like tick protection, because where I hunt, there's a lot of ticks. And so you need a lot of tick protection. And so I like boots like this that are super comfortable, but also go high up. I combine these with gaiters just to maximize my tick protection. These Russell Moccasin Zephyr boots, they're famous among a lot of folks who are outdoors people. They're very popular in the upland community. They were a great choice for me. The next thing is something that most people probably don't know about, but it's a total hack. These are called boot and shoe dryers by a company called Wiggy's Sleeping Bags. And some of you guys, if you're really into American-made stuff, you've heard of Wiggy's. He is a sleeping bag manufacturer that has been around for decades out of Grand Junction, Colorado. He's famous for making synthetic filled sleeping bags out of lanolite. There are 500,000 pores on your feet. And in my experience, the issue of getting your feet wet is your feet are just steaming inside your boot. And if you do a multi-day, day one, you're probably fine. You take your boots off, you go to bed, hopefully they dry out. But if it's really high humidity, they didn't get a chance to dry. And so Wiggy created these boot liners that you take, you roll them up and you stuff them here in your boot. And what it does is it absorbs all the moisture on the inside of your boot, so that the next morning you have a nice dry boot that you can put on. It's akin to people stuffing newspaper in their boots or their shoes. I used to do that, but this thing is reusable, and it's also made by Wiggy's, which is an awesome American-made outdoor company. Let's get to some personal items. The gloves I like to use are actually aviator gloves. These are Nomex Pilot gloves. They're American made by Illinois Glove Company. They're good for a few reasons. One is they have leather lined palms, which give you a ton of dexterity and just control. And the second is they're actually quite thin. When turkey hunting, you're holding a shotgun, you're kind of sitting around in the blind. You don't want, temperatures, at least for Texas, are not that cold, even early in the morning. I found these to be the perfect pair of gloves for me. For spring turkey hunting, and frankly just a lot of hunting where you really want dexterity in your fingers. I mean, I can see the creases in my fingers on the creases on these gloves. It's really, really interesting. Also, they have a longer gauntlet, which again I like, because the thing I'm trying to control for out there is just not have to deal with ticks. Next is this box call. It's the Natural box call by a company called Cluck Custom Calls. Made in America product, family owned company. Really nice box call. They come with a little rubber band, so you're not inadvertently initiating this thing. I highly recommend. I know there's a zillion out there, but I like these guys. Next is my knife. I could go on and on about knives. I probably have 40 knives in my collection. I keep grabbing this one for a lot of my hunting trips. It's the Buck 105. The thing about the Buck, it's American made, it's a company in Idaho, but it's not an American made sheath, which is a real bummer. And so what I did is I reached out to my friends over at Upland Custom Leather. And what he did is he made a simple pocket sheath for my Buck 105. And so I end up grabbing this for a lot of my hunts, and especially for bird hunts, because the blade profile on the 105 is very bird and trout. Next up is maybe one of my favorite camp items. This is the pour over from Big Joe Coffee. It's a simple piece of plastic that looks like the top of a coffee machine. And what I do when I'm camping or hunting at camp is I put in a regular coffee filter, I put in my regular coffee grounds, and I pop it on top of, a thermos or the cup I want to drink out of, and you just boil water and you pour hot water into it, and it brews and gravity drains like a normal coffee machine. In terms of ease, this is super lightweight because it's plastic. You toss the coffee filter with the grounds into the trash bin when you're done. It's tough to beat. Family owned, made in USA product, but these guys are excellent. Big Joe Coffee Machine. Next up, I've got this M81 Woodland 50/50 nylon cotton boonie cap. I like to use M81 for turkey hunting. Where I hunt, I've got all different kinds of camo, and M81 works really well for me. I can also find American-made apparel in M81 a lot easier than I can in the other camouflage patterns. But this is a great little hat. It's not expensive. It was 20 bucks. I bought it at Graham Pop's Army Navy. This actually has that tag in there with the NSN. It's made in USA by R&B Inc. 50/50 nylon cotton. I'm a big fan of the boonie for spring turkey hunting, and I wear a mosquito net over my face. I get hammered by mosquitoes, and it creates kind of an umbrella that allows me then to put the mosquito net over my face, neck, and it just kind of sits there, and it creates this zone where I'm mosquito free, but it also obviously provides sun protection, it's camouflage, a light rain protection, et cetera, et cetera. So the M81 boonie from Graham Pop's Army Navy, it's a made in USA product. This is the Umlindi by Hill People Gear. I don't see a lot of Hill People Gear out there in the field. It's an American-made outdoor pack company. They're really famous for their chest packs, but they also make really bomb-proof backpacks. And I'll just shout out a few things here. This is a 32-liter capacity bag. It's very simple, right? When I'm turkey hunting, I actually like bags that I have just a single compartment. Throw stuff in there. There's also an accessories zipper. The second thing is their harness system. I think this is single-handedly the most comfortable harness system out there, and it's for a few reasons. Number one, it's like a full yoke, right? Most backpacks just have the straps. This is a full yoke, so it's a continuous piece of fabric that's shaped to go all the way across the back of your neck and down on your shoulders, and that distributes the weight really, really evenly and comfortably. The second is that it's really wide. They have focused on designing for area coverage, right? It's not a thick strap at all. It's actually very lightly padded, but between its width and then the full yoke design that also sits that material onto the back of your neck, it's just the most incredibly comfortable pack. You can load that thing up 30, 40, 50 plus pounds and actually really feel differently than if you were to wear a normal day pack, even a normal hunting day pack. This thing is also quite modular. There's a lot of bits and bobs on their website. Go check it out. It's called Hill People Gear. This is easily my kind of go-to hunting day pack. When I'm spring turkey hunting, I'm kind of optimizing very much for mosquitoes and ticks. And there's a piece of gear here. I'm going to hit my mic. If you're from Texas or some of the western states, you guys probably know what this is. It's called a cowboy rag or a silk rag. It's a long bandana, big bandana, I guess is a better way of putting it, right? This one's obviously in camo. You should go look up videos on cowboy rags or silk rags. There's like the proper way to tie it. There's a proper way to use it. There's a whole tradition, Western kind of cowboy tradition around the silk rag. I like it because I'll put it like this behind my neck and I'll tuck in. It gives me back and neck sun protection, tick protection, mosquito protection. Sometimes if it's hot, I'll just dunk it in water. It acts as a cooling towel. From a first aid perspective, if you hurt yourself and you need a tourniquet or you need a quick sling, you could filter water through it. I don't think you could drink that water, but if you're just trying to get sediment out, this has a lot of different uses. It's from a company called Wild West Rag Company, and they're American made. Great piece of kit. So that's it, really. These were the 10 items that I took with me that are American made on a spring turkey hunt in West Texas. I hope this was helpful. Leave a comment if you got something to say. If you got other pieces of kit that you've used on hunts that's American made, please shout it out. I love to discover new products, but as always, we're here to try to bring some awareness to American made outdoor stuff. I'm Phil Yee from Day One Camouflage. See you later.